Hey there, welcome to the show. I'm Nicole Holland, your host, and I'm thrilled to bring you Season 1, Episode 2 of Fascinating Founders, where we dive in and uncover the stories that came before the success of some of the world's most fascinating founders. Hailing from a multitude of industries and socioeconomic starts, you're going to learn what's made these fascinating men and women realize their dreams from an inspired idea to millions in revenue, disrupting, innovating, and impacting humanity for the better. You never know what's going to come up in our casual conversations, so get your notebooks ready, cozy up with a great cup of joe, and join us as I dive in to learn how these inspiring individuals have figured out how to thrive in a time where most people give up on their dreams. Joining me today is my friend Hugh Rees. He's the co-founder and head of digital at Expose Media, a digitally led creative agency for leaders who seek greatness, not sameness. Founded in 2014, Expose Media combines strategy, creativity, and technology to build business value for clients through the power of digital marketing, focusing on omni-channel marketing. Hugh has tons of industry experience, which we'll talk about in the interview, boasting an impressive 15 years in the IT industry, 10 years in web and digital, and 5 years in digital marketing. Mr. Rees is the modern-day wise man, claiming the title of serial entrepreneur. Hugh has also co-founded IT startup Inturo and digital publication My City Life. Hugh, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Nicole. What an intro. I like that.
I'm super excited to have you with us. And before we dive into your backstory, let's bring people up to date.
Excellent. Yeah, so we are now located in two countries. So Australia is our home base, and so Brisbane, Australia. And we have had a serviced office in San Francisco for the last year. And we've finally moved that to Austin, Texas, which I'm really excited about. And we've got our first ever employee in the United States to help manage our US expansion, as you mentioned. We're pushing hard into the US because that market is huge for us, and that's where we're finding the most cut through at the moment, and letting us expand at a rapid pace, as you said. So we now are 17 strong in our company, which is cool and scary at the same time. And we've basically doubled our growth every year for the last 3 years. So we're on a very, very fast track and this year as well to expand and grow. So we're basically, Deal Client is an e-commerce brand looking to expand and scale. So we help brands sort of cut through that revenue ceiling that they're hitting at the moment through omnichannel marketing, as you said, and really get to that next level. And it's exciting. I love working with brands and making them. It's I'm not going to lie, making money is good.
So much fun.
yeah. I get a really good kick out of it. So it's been an exciting challenge for us. And also, as you mentioned, I've been awarded Entrepreneur of the Year in Australia for marketing, which is cool. And I'm voted top 100 entrepreneurs of 2018. So that's also cool. Nice little pat in the back for the.
Very cool. Very cool. And as all founders know, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into building a company, building a brand, and scaling it. And so I feel like we could maybe talk a little bit about that. But first, I want to get back to, when did your entrepreneurial bug bite you? So how long ago was it?
Yeah, so I am a little bit of a serial entrepreneur. I actually started my first business in my first year of university in 1998. So I was a country boy, born and raised. And if anyone listening knows where rural Queensland is in Australia, that's where I grew up, on a cattle farm. And my parents were very much the fostering of my interest in business and trying to do more. And so they helped me on the way to get a degree at university. And when I got there, I didn't really enjoy university. It just never really stuck with me. I struggled to go through uni, struggled to do the reading and get good grades. And my mind was always elsewhere. So I guess that's sort of that trying to focus thing. And you always look at that shiny object syndrome we're always talking about. And so I've got an opportunity to start working with a local travel agency and helping them with their IT. And yeah, it sort of stuck. And that was the first one. So from there, I had a few fails and a few more tries. Yeah, I've never really had a full-time job. Well, actually, I'll lie. I did have a full-time job. I got a job with a software company. I was actually headhunted. So yeah, I was headhunted to work as a software developer, and I worked with them for 7 years. But on the side, I was always having a side hustle and doing my own thing, which is cool.
Cool. So was that sort of a consulting role then that when you say you were helping the travel agency,
Yeah.
like was there a specific company that you established or was this just Hugh saying, "Hey, I can help you," and
Yeah, yeah,
writing up a contract? Or
yeah. So it was that. I went to university for software engineering, so it was a bachelor of IT, majoring in software engineering. So I've always been sort of that analytical mindset. So when an opportunity came up, I helped them with actually writing their booking system to actually book travel. So I was doing the code, writing all the software, helping them with their local computer tech, networking, all that sort of thing. Yeah, and you know, software was always a passion for me. It always was. Even I think I've actually stopped coding 2 years ago. I made a conscious decision to sort of quit it. I just didn't enjoy it anymore, but I still love it. I still geek out about it. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing.
That's awesome. So, how did you shift then from the software into exposed media? Like, what was sort of that path to get from you were working full time, doing software, had some side hustles going on, and all of a sudden, but bam, you have an agency?
It's my journey is an interesting one. I can't believe I'm going to go into this. This is crazy. So you want the juicy stuff?
Ooh, we want the juicy, juicy stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So when I was working at the software company, I was their national client service manager at the time. I met a young lady who sort of took me by storm, and she had a design agency here in Brisbane. So I left my job and to help her with her agency. I ended up marrying her, which was cool. And then we got divorced a bit later. Yeah, I know. So when we split, I sort of took the web side of things and digital side of things, and I went out on my own. And so that was probably about 2 or 3 years doing that by myself. And a friend of mine introduced me to a guy called Phil Winton, who had a design agency, who needed some help with their web building, web design. So obviously he had design, I had web. So we sort of started working together. And that was 2011, I'm going to say 2011, 2012. So yeah, I sort of moved into his office. We started doing work together. And it got to the point where we were just invoicing each other so much. So we was like, yeah, we're doing so much work. And we came to, I think it was 2014. We're like, this is ridiculous. We need to join forces and start doing it as one. So that is essentially how Exposed Media was born. We sat down and we shook each other's hands and we said, right, let's do this. And then, fast track 5 years now. And here we are.
Amazing.
It's an interesting journey because we were a traditional web design, graphic design company. We never even thought about doing digital marketing, never. And it's crazy and how that sort of fit as well.
And how did that pivot? At what point did you decide that you wanted to go into digital marketing?
So we started doing a lot of e-commerce websites for our clients, Shopify, custom builds, and more and more clients we did the web design for. They said, "Hey, can you do our digital marketing?" At the time, we were, we had two staff. It was Phil and I, two staff. We were a small agency, and as small agencies do, they go, "Yeah, we can do that. We can do this. We can do anything you want." We charge them a fee, and everyone's happy. A small fee, and everyone's happy. And we were honestly just threw ourselves into it. And I just found that it just made sense to me. It really, the numbers and digital marketing for me is much like trading the stock market. It's all money in, money out, pulling the levers to get the most return, seeing what's working, see what's not working. So it just made sense. And so more and more that started to happen. And then it was 2017. It was the day my daughter was born. I thought, we need to do better. I need to make more money. I have someone who relies on me now. So we basically pivoted and we went all in on digital marketing. And now, it's what, 3 years later, here we are.
That is awesome. So, Hugh, if you could sum up some of your very best advice for a business owner who really resonated with your message and your history and would love to follow in your footsteps, what would you tell them?
Yeah, good question. Over the last 15 years, it's been an interesting journey and self-discovery, I think, and we may have touched on this a little bit earlier. I fail constantly. Every day I make mistakes, but it's how you learn from those mistakes, pick yourself up and move forward. Find your why, like what makes you get up in the morning, and really hold on to that and let that drive you. And don't be frightened of making mistakes, because it's how we learn. I've made some, over the last 15 years, some decisions that obviously were not the best decisions, but I think they shaped me and for who I am today. And without them, I wouldn't be where I am. So just embrace that and really, really push forward and know that you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Awesome. And also, if you would love to share with our listeners about, how they can get in touch with you, how they can get more support from you, if it's a fit, if they want to learn, whatever the case may be. I just want to turn over the mic to you for that.
Mhm.
And also, if there's anything that you kind of wish I would have asked you but didn't, please, you've got the mic, share away.
Sure. So basically, one of the things that I'm constantly pushing myself for is to get myself out there. I've always been one sort of the person to sit in the corner and just do my thing and not really wave the flag and say, hey, here I am. And I've had a few close friends who are very successful over the last year, really, I would say, slap me in the face and say, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to film content. You've got to produce content. You've got to let the world know you're here. And then that only can accelerate your growth when you put it into a paid marketing strategy. That's gold, pure gold. So I'm really starting to do that. Hence the reason why I'm on this show, to sort of get the world to know who I am. And if you guys want to follow up with me and want any help with marketing or have any questions in terms of e-commerce growth or how to run Facebook ads, if you want to help, or run Google ads or Snapchat, any of those sort of channels, then reach out, go to the website, expose.media, and it is just expose.media. There's no .com. It's one of those cool new domain names. Or follow me on Instagram, Hugh_Rees. And I'd love to hear from you.
Amazing. And I really, really appreciate your vulnerability there and sharing, because a lot of times we know all of the things, especially like those of us who do done for you services. It's like, the cobbler's kid's shoes, right? So sometimes we know the things and we want to do the things, but it really is so uncomfortable to take that step.
Yes.
Especially for introverts who maybe aren't used to, they haven't had the experience yet and they're not comfortable. And as you know, and as my listeners know, I'm a huge fan of podcast guesting. It was not always easy for me. And still to this day, I have discomfort when I do it, but it is so valuable. And, with all of the different ways of doing content, like you said, being able to then put money behind that, it is such a genius move because you get to co-create. So like podcast guesting, for example, I'm the one right now who's got to do the production, who's got to put it out, who's got to get my audience, et cetera, et cetera. And you as a guest get to come on, share about your stuff, and then like you're done. You shouldn't be done though. It's one of the things I teach about podcast guesting is that there's so much more you can do with it. So just don't let it lay. And I just, from a personal standpoint, want to say how proud I am of you, because I've probably talked with you about interviewing you for about a year. And so thank you for doing this. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing your truth and inspiring other founders to do it too. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did with Hugh Rees of Expose Media. And if you did, be sure to check out the show notes page where we have links to all the mentioned resources, ways to get in touch with Hugh, and also a transcript of today's episode and more. You can find that as well as all of the Fascinating Founders episodes at fascinatingfounders.com. Thank you so much for being with us today. And always remember that Successful people learn from successful people. I'm Nicole Holland, signing off.